Hey there, you might be listening to this over on our channel, The Line Edge, but you should know this is its own thing called The Line Has a Podcast.
We are certain you want to know it exists and give you some links to follow its official YouTube channel and for other podcast locations.
By the way, these simultaneous uploads where we put it here and other places at the same time, that's only going for a while longer. So go over there and subscribe now.
Plus, we only pull comments of the day from that channel and our Patreon.
Go and check on those sweet, sweet links. Here we go. Comment of the episode, last episode, LOL, Promise looks so disgusted by Jimmy's crass sexual humor. It's like watching Superbad. This episode is brought to you by our patron supporters. Today's patron of the day is Brent. Patrons get the show always ad-free and access to the extended episode with bonus content. On today's bonus episode, Jimmy is going to read a ridiculous email exchange he had from a recent, shall we say, transphobic Takis caller. Darante is going to be there with the best voice in podcasting, and Alyssa will check in on our sexual health. Go to patreon.com/calltheline. That's patreon.com/calltheline. Welcome everyone to The Line. We should have done it like this. Welcome everyone to The Line Has a Podcast. I'm Jimmy Snow.
I'm Alyssa Ljub.
And I am Darante LaMar.
Gotta love the delay. I don't know what the delay will be like after, but I'm like, on my end, it was awful. It was like it was too many seconds dead air.
I drank more than any person should on the Lord's Day. So my entire life feels like it's in delay right now.
I was blaming the computer for the record.
We're taking what we can get. We're taking what we can get.
I'm the one who looks hungover. With this new camera with its like better definition, everybody's like, oh, he looks so high def. Though on Sunday's episode, despite what I'm about to say, I got hit on in the live chat more than like any time I've been on YouTube. It was people are just hadn't seen me in forever.
You're
I guess
sexier in 4K.
They're catching up to catching up to the weight loss too, and they're like, "What?" But I think I look so pale, I'm translucent. You can literally make out my veins. Nurses do not have a problem poking me full of holes. Let me just say that. By the way. It's Tuesday, January 28th. We're going to be talking about the confirmation of Pete Hegseth, the emergence of this new Chinese AI competing with ChatGPT, and Elon apparently wants to double down on ultra-right things. Listen, we know it's Tuesday. That's weird. There were some technical events. There may have been a recorded episode that'll just be a secret now, which is honestly fine because we ended up doing like more than half of the show just on the questions of the day. Yeah. And that was probably a mistake anyway. But we can go ahead and jump on to the questions of the day. This week, the question for you is, when polled, most people will say the main reason they voted for Donald Trump was the economy. The economy, though, by the ways we measure it anyway, was actually going in a better direction than Trump's best days, as well as a strong recovery from COVID. So when they were saying economy, what do you believe they were really communicating? Put your comments down below. We will have a longer discussion about that next episode. Do you want to try and influence the comments? Either of you? Do either of you have initial thoughts where you're like, get this right, people? Do you want to wait? See what they come up with between now and Friday's episode?
Ooh. Yeah, I'll wait. Let's wait.
Yeah, I'm curious what people have to say too. I feel like it's probably because Democrats just constantly say that the economy's great and no one can afford to live. So they're kind of like, well, so someone's lying here. And, you know, I think that like created this whole hot mess in part.
I think we live in a world now where the shortcomings of capitalism are fully on display thanks to social media, that people are getting to demonstrate, if they're rich, how great their life is, and that everybody is now, to some degree, we all lived in denial of how good rich people were living because we didn't have to have it shoved in our face. So now you have multiple levels. You have the level of actual rich people shoving it in our face on their social media, and then these people who are driving themselves into deep depressions, trying to convince you that they're living those lives as well. that's sort of performative richness on social media. And I think now people are comparing themselves and going like, I will be financially devastated in a way in which I cannot recover if my kid gets the flu right now.
Yeah.
But out here, these people just have money, and the way they're making money is already having money, and then their money goes and works and makes them more money.
Makes more money. Yep.
And I'm out here grinding my fucking ass off, and I'm so afraid I'm gonna have to buy some Dimetap. Is that still a drug? Does that exist still?
Dimetap.
Y'all remember
The hell is
Dimetap?
that?
I do remember
No.
Dimetap. Yes.
Oh, I loved
What
Dimetap.
is that?
It was a grape flavored like cough syrup. Like
Yes.
I think it had like Benadryl in it and maybe some other stuff. I was so excited to need Dimetap when I was a kid. It was truly my first addiction. I just loved. I actually also really liked cough syrup, and it was before people found out it kind of did things to you. That was around like 2005, 2006, and then everybody would always be like, wait, you like Robitussin? And I'm like, yes. There's just something about it when I taste it. I get it. The taste isn't very good, but I just know I'm going to feel better. Anyway, by the way, we could address the elephant in the room. Promise is not here. She said she's mad at all of you listening. And so Darante is here to fill in her spot. And Darante, we can actually announce now, is also joining the larger, we'll call it cast of The Line, and will be appearing on The Line more as an official host. So hi, Darante, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be
Happy
a
to
part of
have
the
you.
team.
Yay.
I want to see if you know this. Durante, what's your star sign?
Like the astrology stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a Taurus.
Okay. I felt like you didn't say it quickly and confidently enough that I respect you. I really do. Because I hate astrology so
It threw
much.
me for a minute. Like I was like, astrology?
Jimmy? No, I've made some like anti-astrology videos in the past, and there are projects coming up in the future for actually like exposing actual people who are selling horoscoping services and psychics. I'm going to go hard after psychics this year.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I don't like this new version of where it's like, oh, I'm really glad these new generations are getting away from these old stupid religions, but they're just like starting new ones, and they're getting I almost said fondled. I meant like swindled. They're very similar words. They're getting swindled.
Swindled
by
and
new
fondled
scams.
are.
Swindlers are often fondlers. I mean, it does work that way.
I would say actually the other way around as well. Fondlers are often swindlers.
Yes.
I want like a very like country British person to say both of them together. Like, no, they're but a bunch of fondlers and swindlers. There's like some version of that would sound so fun. All right. And then as far as next week's question of the day, how tall do you think Jimmy is? No, that's I was asking Durante. We have to do last episode's question of the day. I was asking Durante, though, before the episode, because there's a lot of mystery surrounding. People see me, and I had wondered if this would change after I had lost the weight, if it was actually more of about my proportions when I had another, I think for most of the time I was on YouTube, I had another 50 pounds, but at one point, another 75 pounds on top of what I had. And I thought maybe with my proportions adapting, people would begin to guess correctly my weight. What was your guess? Or height? What was your guess, Durante?
Yeah, my guess, you got to be around 5'8" or 5'9". That's where my mind went.
Alyssa, I think you know my height now. Do you remember what you thought it was before? I feel like I remember we talked about it once.
Yeah, I think I probably thought around the same, like 5'9". But I think, can I guess what your actual height is if I remember it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you're like 6'2".
That is correct. I'm 6'2".
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't want to be around you now. I don't like being around people who are taller than me.
I don't trust them.
Me neither. That's why I don't leave my house. And if I do, I only go to preschools.
In fairness, Alyssa, I probably also think I think a lot of people on TV in general look shorter than they are.
Yeah.
So like, I probably would have guessed you at like a foot shorter than me, like 5'2".
Really?
I would have guessed that. Yeah.
I'm shorter than that.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm 5 feet tall.
Do you know what's on the honest thing is that I was being polite. I was going to say 5'2". I thought maybe you had a little, because the thing is you post a lot of like what you're out doing.
Yeah.
So
there's
there's a sense of scale compared to like, tables and chairs and people that you are grinding on, which is a lot of your Instagram. Well, I'm just saying I don't know their
I like
heights.
to have fun, Jimmy.
I know. Novel to me. What is that like? I like to whittle.
You know what? It's going okay. I am violently hungover today. So, it has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
We have so much Trump stuff today that I feel like I'm putting it off. We had already established a lot of Trump stuff for the Monday show that we were going to be sending out, and delaying by a day added so much Trump stuff. So we're going to be hitting headlines mostly on these. But last episode's question from last Thursday was whether or not the left is obsessed with a perfection. And by left here, we are talking about leftists, as in people who are not capitalists, people not Democrats. We're talking about leftism, and whether they are obsessed with perfection, essentially to their doom. And are we destroying ourselves by demanding it? Now, yesterday I posted on Threads in response to the fact that Donald Trump has announced his plan to just clear out Gaza and try and send all the Palestinians to Egypt and Jordan. Like, hey, just so you know, your protest vote is turning into a vote for no Palestine at all 4 years from now. Right. And holy crap, have I been exposed directly to the no dissent. You are not allowed to disagree. I've been getting absolutely reamed over there by people who won't actually engage in an actual conversation about it. Wow. Usually just resort to like identity things like, well, you're a white man, you can't know, or I'm Palestinian and I'm telling you to shut up. I'm like, great. So why is your voice more important than the Palestinian voices of my friends who tell me not to shut up? Like, right. Which Palestinian would you like me to listen to? Obviously the ones that agree with, but the funniest thing is they want to jump behind this. Like, first of all, they want to use liberal as an insult, which I get it. Yeah. I'm very frustrated with liberals too. They want to put Band-Aids on gushing wounds, but the liberals are the pool of people we have an opportunity to change their minds and push them to actual leftism. And I think it's crazy that you want to just basically do what Fox News did and just like, let's make... And a lot of what they do reminds me of how Fox News operates. Let's not actually engage the arguments. Let's not actually make better arguments, better points. Let's just turn like their identities into like we've all agreed that just being those things are a slur now.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Over on Patreon, Adrian said, I agree that the left is obsessed with perfection and closing people out. I actually had it come up for the first time in a long time that I was bothered enough to possibly end a friendship, but I sat with my thoughts for a couple days, then approached and asked what in the heck the comment was about, and we came to a place of understanding and are able to move forward, which I think is so representative of a lot of us who have come from religious backgrounds and backgrounds where we were really, really wrong. Yeah. My salvation came in the form of friends being patient with what a piece of shit I was and still being around me and letting me go through phases of being a piece of shit. Because if in my initial like coming out of it, all I was met with was resistance and fuck you, you haven't changed to perfect. So no, you're fuck you, we don't want you at all. Then it probably would have pushed me back. Because at the end of the day, community is the core of every societal problem. And you are going to find community somewhere. And clearly, we've lost this last election because we've also lost the appeal of having a community anyone would want to be a part of. Yeah. Absolutely. What do y'all think?
I 100% agree. I think that was a major issue in this last election. I think there were several groups who did not feel a part of the party, tried to communicate that, and that wasn't a conversation that was well received, which I know there was a lot on the line. This was a heavy election, but I was very disheartened by the fact that we didn't take the people who were willing to support us, we didn't take them seriously enough, you know? Yeah. That was kind of heartbreaking to see. I think those of us who were paying attention, we saw this election lost long before it was actually lost, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
And I say this all the time. This is going to be like my swan song, is that community building is going to be the thing that we have to lean on.
Yes.
We have to be compassionate towards each other. It's kind of like I don't even want to say stupid because I don't want to like talk down on people who are trying to navigate situations that are really tough. But it is really confusing to me that other people think that like the fighting fire with fire situation is going to get us out of this.
Yeah.
It never once has, and it's definitely not going to now. And so, we have to find ways to lean on each other, lean on community, especially community building is going to be even more important now that our government already, we can't trust them to take care of us.
Yes.
And now we're going to need to be leaning on community for the sake of literally being able to facilitate human life. Like it's going to be it has to be a part of how we get through everything together now.
Absolutely.
I like these people who were like, nope, you don't get a say because at the end of the day, you still voted for a genocide and voted for a fascist. And it's literally like, yeah. And so did you.
Yeah.
And so did you.
You literally, on November 5th, one of two people was going to become president. So whether you physically cast a vote for a president or you voted for a different person, you did support one of the two of them getting elected because none of the other options were. So if you did not try to change the outcome, then you either voted for the outcome or you could argue you voted for the worst option. Both are defensible positions. It doesn't matter. You still participated in actions that put one of them in the White House. And right now, Donald Trump's the one who won. That's who you voted for, whether or not you literally did or not. Your actions are part of why he is in the White House. So this whole and look, shit like that happens every day. By the way, I fucking love these people. Like, under no circumstances do we ever support genocide. Anyway, I just wrote that from my smartphone, made from parts made in China, where they genocide the Uyghurs. And I just said it on Meta, where genocide misinformation is distributed all over literally, you are a fucking joke at this point. If you think
disingenuous.
You have arbitrary lines of where it's wrong for them, but everything I do is the right way. And then there's, when you point that out, they're like, oh my God, that's such a liberal response. And you're literally like, I get it. You can't actually engage it in point versus point, but you can engage it on point versus some identity bullshit. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I'd like to win. I'd like to get Medicare for all. And you know what? Yeah. I voted for Harris over Trump. I voted for the less worse genocide because she actually had places she would have stopped. Things we are seeing happen today, she wouldn't have supported. She's also movable. 80% of the Democratic Party wanted a permanent ceasefire.
Yes.
What percentage of the Republicans did? None. None of them did. They want the whole thing cleared out so that the Christians and the Jews can take it over. They want it turned into a literal parking lot for their new hotels and shit. It doesn't. But also at the end of the day, it wasn't the one genocide. I'm also fond of the idea of there not being a trans genocide in America. Or all of the damage to women that will be further perpetuated and be locked out for longer because of Donald Trump now being able to renew and push the old Supreme Court guys out and push and renew their spots as well. You're literally talking about a Supreme Court that may have all of the right-wing seats defined by Donald Trump by the time it's over. These actions you had the same consequences of putting the man in the White House. Whether or not you literally clicked Harris or Trump doesn't matter.
I want to add to that because it's not just the actions. It's really the audacious inaction where everyone feels like them just having an opinion is really enough. And it's just like, I have an opinion, so I've done the work. And this is one thing, I think one thing that we definitely underestimated is that because the Republican Party has attached itself so strongly to Christian nationalism, every Sunday it has community building services. Because it is so attached itself to this, for the past 4 years, it has had hubs all over the United States that is constantly drilling into people the need for their type of worldview. And when I look at what we did, I'm like, man, where's our stuff?
Right. And it's interesting too, because I never thought about that. And that is a really interesting perspective, because I think that Democrats they assume because there's a thought process that Democrats are voting. I'm not voting necessarily just for my rights. I'm voting for the rights of the greater good, that we check the box of community and we check the box of doing things for the all versus just for I. But we don't have community, natural built-in community building and the way that they do for
Yep.
like churches and things like that. I never thought about that.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep. I mean, it's a whole propaganda machine for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then it's even easier for them because, of course, the religious right has cornered the market on social services outside of government. Right.
Yeah.
So when it comes to feeding homeless people, when it comes to taking care of kids, foster kids and all that shit, it's cornered the market on that. That stuff is where its political strength comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're tying people into that ideology by saying, look, we're the ones helping you. What are the other ones doing? And so you do that long enough. Someone said it to me this week that without community, people feel forced to bow. So when people are out there isolated and then this, you know, right-wing church comes along and is the one that actually feeds them and pays their utility bills and says, hey, Trump made this possible. Sadly enough, there are many people who will be so happy for that piece of bread where they'll just be like, you know what, maybe you're right. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, as a person in the South in Alabama, I've literally seen churches kind of take that approach with people.
Yeah. I mean, look at how powerful it was when Trump just put his name on the relief checks. And now you have churches pretending it's essentially an extension of that. And people were citing that as I liked that Trump sent me checks when the Congress sent it. He had his name put on them and you got more checks under Biden and Obama. It's just wild. Brent had also added on Patreon, the left unfortunately needs to fight fire with fire. I never want to match energy with the right, but if we don't, I'm scared we lose our voice. So we can't try to be perfect anymore. I agree with the not trying to be perfect anymore. You have to figure out what our fire is, because just fire with fire seems to do nothing. Yep. It has to be like when you've seen wars in the past, it's like who invents the bomb before the other person gets past just having guns or whatever else. We have to, and our fire needs to be Medicare for all. Yes. We need to say we're going to give you health care and we're going to shove it down your throat whether you want it or not. And the good news is they do want it.
Yep.
Everybody does.
Everybody wants
even
it.
Republicans right now are going to say what is popular amongst their people. But the moment you go, hey, you know how, again, you can't afford that Dimetap? You shouldn't have to. It should be covered because rich people are hoarding cash from you right now.
Yes.
Your security, your resources, they are out there and they're yours. Because you have been the exploited labor. That is your cash in their bank vaults.
Yes.
And we're going to take enough of it to make sure that you can live, and as we should.
Yep.
The part B of that question had been whether or not we should abandon Meta products for Zuckerberg's pivot because of Zuckerberg's pivot to the right. And a person, for example, had said, yes, you should get off Meta and X. I did, which is, I think, a hilarious. I did because I did this virtue signaling thing.
Right.
You must now, and I've proven. But Musk is already concerned about stagnant numbers, and you staying on these sites keeps others that follow you on these sites make them fail or support Nazis. Right now, you are doing the latter. No. I don't think we are doing the latter because it doesn't make them fail. Musk bought Twitter and tanked its value, but Twitter hasn't failed because even though the value went down by $30-40 billion, whatever it was, it gave him a propaganda arm with which he could buy an election, which turned into his personal wealth going up by hundreds of billions of dollars. You think he's sweating the 30 billion he lost against the few $100 billion he has gained? And by the way, it's not really his lost money because he went and got Saudi Arabian and foreign money to invest in the Twitter thing. They don't care. We're talking about the people who actually are trillionaires in this world who do not care if they lose all of that money. They are there for that propaganda investment. They're good with it. He hasn't lost shit. He has only gained influence and power. And so right now you have a lot of people who are changeable, who are moderates, or who are just get through the day kind of people that you want all of the not Nazis to abandon Twitter and leave those people who are just trying to get through the day. Sorry, not Twitter, Instagram. Those people just trying to get through the day.
Yeah.
Leave them with the Nazis. Well, guess what that's going to turn into? More Nazis.
Yeah.
What is to these leftists who are so obsessed with this, to the ones that were so brave in my comments but will not call the show. What is our community expansion method? Our method to actually like try to get more people to change their mind? Because it sounds like just telling everyone how much better we are than them and that they're going to want to join. We look like a fucking bunch of assholes.
Yes.
Correct.
In one of our community conversations, we had this conversation called "Change My Mind." You know, it's just like, how does mind change actually work? And what we begin to realize is that mind change happens on a spectrum of safety, where people either feel like they are so unsafe that they have to change their mind. Like, for example, I would never jump out of a building. That's something I don't want to do. It's not something I'd really want to do. But if the building is on fire, it has changed my sense of safety. And so it is now more safe for me to jump out of the building, even though it's something I would not normally do. And so just to kind of piggyback on what you said, we spend so much time saying, you're stupid, we're better, instead of demonstrating to people that this is safer. If we can find a way to demonstrate that, listen, that fucking building is on fire, and I know this jump is scary, but this is safer, and we're going to make sure you have a soft space to land. We have to lean into that work, because there are a lot of moderates out there. And the truth of the matter is, I hate to say it this way, but people are often fickle. They're going to go with whatever is appetizing to them at the moment, and safety is always appetizing.
Yeah.
I agree. Anything from you, Alyssa?
No, I think that's a really good point. And it's all kind of like, I think the left has done a really great job at showing us where the fear is and not showing us where the safety is.
Yes.
It's interesting. We love to be able to be like, don't look away. This is important. This is important. This is important. Don't look away. That makes you a coward. That makes you unengaged. That makes you like just as much a problem. And then when it comes down to, okay, great. Like, I'm not looking away. And now I am really scared. And is there any like aftercare here? And then all of a sudden it seems like we kind of are like, well, you don't have get a therapist, betterhelp.com, use my code. Like, we don't
have a code.
neither do I.
BetterHelp doesn't care about us yet.
But yeah, so it's just, I think that's so right on. And I didn't think about that until you put it that way, that like, we're not creating the safety and we're only creating the fear. And like, that's actually also not helping.
Yep.
Yeah. We have to do something, because this shit ain't working, and Donald Trump won, and we are the funny thing is too, when you have these people who are apparently so impatient because in the length of a TikTok they're not going to see the world change to their point of view. When you have generations of activists before who died knowing they would never see the world they were advocating for, but hoping we were heading that way. We were heading that way. This Trump election is the first significant setback. I'm not saying we were going there fast, but you could see the progress toward it, and you could measure and say, we're getting closer to do a day of Medicare for all. We're getting closer to a world of just understanding that genocide and murder and shit like that is wrong. We're getting closer to it, and now it's going the other way. And I think that some of them are accelerationists. They just don't have any good foothold in in history. Foothold in surgery. I don't know what I broke my leg. I had to have surgery on. Anyway, any foothold in history that seems to actually be the case, that seems to actually be true without some tremendous genocide to do it. Like, there was some progress in the 30s and 40s to a more significant form of democracy in parts of Europe after 6 million dead Jews and millions of dead others. I'd like to avoid that on the way there, maybe because I'm probably going to be in the group killed. Maybe that's part of it. You know, we queers aren't super popular. We queers who employ trans people and vocally support them, even less popular. I don't know. We have to come up with something, but let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have so much Trump stuff to talk about, but we will try and delay the Trump talk with a little bit of news outside of that, but it's all pretty bleak, but it's news that you should know. We're coming back in a moment with all of that. In theory, the music should have been playing the whole time. I'm still like, why don't I start the music when I'm saying we're going to be right back? We're going to do the break.
Oh man.
Y'all, if you've got stuff you want to bring up news-wise too, it's the format's open like that, but it's...
Yeah, I do want to talk about the censorship stuff a little bit, because now it's old news, but it's showing up now. Like, it's actually happening now.
That's where we'll start after the break.
Okay.
Be right back. Oh, I thought that was the end of the music. I can't even time this right.
I love this.
All right. You go. We got to talk. We got to figure it out. Okay, here it goes. We'll be back.
Would you like to be one of the cool people who can prove they were supporting this podcast right from the beginning? Well, you can. Head over to linemerch.com. That's linemerch.com and pick up some founders merch for The Line Has a Podcast that will only be available for a short time and features the rough draft drawn logo that soon will be updated to look less like it was drawn by a 3-year-old. That's linemerch.com.
And we are back. Welcome back from the break. Alyssa, you've got a direction you want to start off. You want to talk about the censorship at Meta, I think.
Yeah, so this is kind of old news. I think this was announced early in January. It's like this January 7th or something like that. And Meta had decided to get rid of their third-party fact-checking, and they moved their censorship department from California to Texas.
For more diversity of thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when this information was first being distributed, and like I'm a sex and relationship coach, so the content that I make is sex related, and so censorship is a big problem that I am constantly kind of navigating on these platforms. And so a lot of the people I follow are also in that same space, and a lot of them were kind of like, well, maybe this will work in our favor because now we don't have
less censorship.
Yeah, maybe we'll have less censorship. And in the past week, I can't tell you how many of my friends are losing access to their accounts or being shadow banned and have literally no reach at all, and have tens of thousands of followers. And so and in the statement that Zuckerberg had put out, it was like a little video, he says that there's too much of a political bias, and based on recent events in the election, he literally says it, recent events in like our elections and whatever, we really need to lean into free speech is essentially how he put it. And then here we are, and we're a couple weeks in, and people are losing access to their accounts. And these are people who are not, and it still would not be okay if these people were sex workers, but they're not, they're educators. So, and they say that. And so it's like, and there are many accounts that are resources for like abortion options or reproductive health options and across the board. And those are also now slowly disappearing. And so it's just, I wanted to bring it up because we're seeing the effects of it. And I see it very, very strongly in my industry, in a space where like seeing what, like there was, I can't remember what website it was, but there was a website specifically for a search engine to find reproductive health resources in your area. And that's gone. It's like, it's actually really, really frightening to see.
They've it's so funny because you can just predict. I'll make my prediction now. In about 2 years, because that'll be about 18 months to 2 years from now. Actually, I'll just say 2 years because it'll be post midterm election that they actually take the action. The amount of time it's going to take for independent organizations to do studies and go, you guys said you were going to correct the political bias, but here's the studies that actually proved you went way further right than you were ever left. Way further. You started platforming Christian nationalism and boosting that content, and you actually started getting rid of accounts that were opposed to the president's point of view, even though nothing was illegal. That should have been included in this lightning of censorship. And 2 years from now, when the House gets taken back, because traditionally that's what happened, and Zuckerberg is worried now about the repercussions from Congress and how much he's going to have to come in and testify. You're going to see the video. Hey guys, I just wanted to talk today about some things going on. Listen, we were trying our absolute best to try and make things more fair, but we overcorrected, and that's on us. So we're sorry. And now, going forward, we're going to make sure that you have more access to more diversity of thought, including people on the left and the right. It's going to be the copy and paste apology. I could do that for hours, just channeling like the way these people talk. And it's going to be, somebody mark this down and keep track of it, because y'all know I'm not going to do it, but some obsessed fan somewhere put this on your whiteboard of things Jimmy predicted, looking like you're tracking Pepe Silvia over there. It's going to happen. He's going to apologize for it. And he already knows. That's the thing. He knows we're going to do what we need to do now. We'll apologize later. Break shit, apologize later. That's kind of their whole thing.
Spineless behavior. He's such a fucking weenie, bro.
It's all about stockholder share. He has so much. I'm trying to remember. I think it was to Scott Galloway. On on Pivot who said this, which is this liberal podcast I like to listen to. I like to know what the liberals are up to. They're cute as they try. Scott Galloway on the podcast made this very good point, which is like, when you have that much, what's the point of being that rich if you still have to bow to other people?
Yes.
If you still have to you have so much money and yet you are acting like a little bitch.
I think that was the scariest thing about this election is watching how many wealthy people like really cozied up to Trump's ass as close as they could get. Like, I was like, this is wild. It doesn't even make wealth look attractive anymore. It's I don't want that shit.
Yeah, I want just that right amount that I can be comfortable, but I don't have to pretend to like anything I don't like.
It's fucking embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I saw a meme that was like when the billionaires took over the world, I didn't think they would all be such fucking nerds. And that's how I feel. I'm like, really?
I wish I thought they were nerds though anymore.
This is scary.
They started as nerds, a lot of them, but they're all the ones that are like, oh, just look, one day I'm gonna get all the money and I'm gonna get all the fame, and then all these people who bully me, I'm going to cozy up to them and I'm going to become a bigger bully of the same people they bully.
Yeah.
You're like Mark Zuckerberg. You're so brilliant because you're creating the most prolific website in the world and your little Harvard thing, and you're too smart for Harvard. They just can't contain you. And now you're like, hey guys, so my agenda for today, I'm going to go do some Brazilian jiu-jitsu and then come home and smoke my meats. Like, fucking Christ, what are you taking? Is this what ketamine does? Because I've been recommended ketamine therapy. I don't want to become a bro. Elon Musk apparently was actually a pretty good coder. Now, a lot of things he's credited for, he didn't do. As far as he didn't invent Tesla, he didn't invent rockets, but you can't say he doesn't have the ability to run a business in a way that's, I'm running a much smaller business, is stressful. He has a capable mind.
Yeah.
Same thing, dude's like, yeah, I'm doing ketamine on the weekend. I'm getting the new girl pregnant and offering horses over here on during the week. And by the way, I'm going to fight Mark Zuckerberg. Like, what is the and saying F you redacted to people on buying Twitter and then using it to bully people on Twitter?
Oh man.
Yeah.
And you're so mad at your ex, you can't stop talking about her. So you literally named your program X.
Yikes!
That's what happened. It's all about Grimes at this point. He's just super mad.
If I was married to Grimes, I think I also would have like a mental health event around the breakup there too.
Maybe she's not great. I just want to point out
something's
she's
going
not a
on.
very good person.
Something's going on.
Ever since I watched her on stage defending, actually, I like the patriarchy, because basically her argument was the patriarchy delivered modern civilization, but the way she was defending it is the way all these right-wing chuds do.
Yikes.
She's basically saying it was important that back when these people with engineering minds were building civilization, that we make sure women weren't engineers too back then, because that's what the patriarchy was. It wasn't that men are doing work and we appreciate that masculine jobs are mostly done by men. It was that women were excluded because of the patriarchy from things which they also excel at, like engineering. And so she really likes that women were prohibited from higher positions in society because that gave us roads.
Right. I don't feel like, anyone who's trusting Grimes's judgment on pretty much anything after seeing what her bangs have looked like in the course of her career.
Well, damn.
I'm feeling like that was very hater of me, but given her the things that she said, I think she deserves it.
Listen. We know that there's something wrong with Grimes because how she bangs, and who she bangs.
That
yeah,
works.
Girl.
That works.
We should end the show right there. I'm not topping that.
Yeah, right. It's not going to get better than that. That was the peak.
Slight more terrifying news before we get to awful Trump stuff. Have you all heard about DeepSeek? Has this come across your?
No. What is that?
What is this?
Today, everybody found out about. I think it's something that became a little popular over the weekend. In productivity apps, #1 in the App Store, it is an AI like ChatGPT that is apparently quite comparably capable, faster, and potentially better in some areas than something like ChatGPT, which I use ChatGPT like crazy. It's like my therapist now.
Right? Yes.
Yeah. I'm constantly using ChatGPT.
It's non-judgmental, so I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. It works.
This button on the side of my phone that you can map to whatever literally is mapped to open ChatGPT to a voice chat. I'll show you. I'll just hit it right here. It's probably gonna be blurry.
It's crazy.
And then it starts to load up, and then it's sounding exactly like our friend. Oh, I think I've volume off and stuff. One of the new voices sounds exactly like Megan from Digital Hammurabi. I don't know if y'all know her.
No.
Identical to her, Dr. Bowen's wife. She's amazing. Yeah. She's wonderful. Yeah. British woman. It's literally like so identical because she and I are very close that I sent her. She was like, "That's creepy," because it's like it's her. Anyway.
Yes.
DeepSeek, the thing is that DeepSeek is a Chinese model, which, listen, I don't know what's going on with the TikTok stuff. Y'all should know China's not our friend. They're not a good government. Chinese people are wonderful. Their government is not a good government. Again, genocidal, and they do fucked up shit. And so I'm still trying to find out what the safety of having an AI like that is, because I'll tell you, I tell ChatGPT way too much stuff.
Way too much, yeah.
There's a lot of information about my butthole on ChatGPT. I'll tell you that much right now. But DeepSeek, besides
gosh,
the thing that's wild is it also caused the stock of NVIDIA to plummet today.
I saw
because
that.
They reported that they were able to actually create this model comparable to ChatGPT. If you just had to guess how much that would cost, knowing that it costs hundreds of billions of dollars, at least tens of billions for ChatGPT, but between all of them, ChatGPT, Claude, Meta, hundreds of billions of dollars to make the current models, plus so much computing power, so much electricity. How much would you guess all of that cost?
I'm looking at the outline, so I don't feel like I can honestly
Oh, you already know?
guess because I'm looking
at it. You would have guessed higher, I assume.
Yes. 100% I would have guessed higher.
Any guess you got for it, Darante?
I'm afraid to guess now because y'all both already know the answer, and I don't want to do myself like that.
I don't know what I would have guessed. Don't worry.
The thing is even if I just begin the answer, which is 5.6, your brain is probably going to go, oh, $5.6 billion? Yeah. No.
Certainly
this
not.
Chinese company apparently pulled it off in computing power of only $5.6 million.
Yikes.
A thing that seemingly should be impossible, and sent stocks. NVIDIA lost $600 billion in market value. That is the most lost in a single day by a stock ever.
That's crazy.
Now listen, NVIDIA was due for a correction, and by the way, this is a big correction. They'll go back up a little bit. It'll recover some of that, most likely. I mean, I assume. But yeah, other Meta, Alphabet, other tech companies that are also doing AI, big declines today. And it also affected bigger things. Somehow it affected crypto. Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. We could all go, it probably could affected crypto because no one knows. Even crypto people. Crypto people don't know how the value of crypto actually works. Let's be honest. No one does. It could be anything. Meme coins are taking off right now.
One of my favorite things about like the crypto conversation is I saw someone on TikTok say when a frat bro is trying to explain crypto to you, just go, oh, it's like Cole's Cash. And just see what they say. And I think that's brilliant. And I'll never not do it any other way. Oh, it's like Cole's Cash.
Carol, you say it too. You will be there for hours trying to get out of what you just began.
Trust me, I will not be. They'll be talking to a wall.
I'm always disappointed when the crypto people come to me because they never know what they're talking about. And I seriously want to know. I want to be educated. Let me know. And then they don't.
Yeah. Because they don't they don't know shit.
We've only got two more non-Trump things. We'll do a break and then come back. If there's so much stuff with Trump's pardons, including a person who, since being pardoned, has been killed by police. I'm not kidding. We've got that story coming up.
Fun.
Trump's Ukraine plan has leaked. It's as bad as anybody would have said. Like, yeah, Trump's probably going to do this, and then everyone on his side would have been like, he's not going to go that crazy. He's saying he's going to find a deal. It's basically as bad as not finding a deal. So we've got plenty to talk about with Trump. But before that, Elon Musk doubling down on his right-wing, not just right-wing stuff, his Nazi stuff. Within a week of going and doing a perfect Zig Heil to the point that like it will be studied in years to come as people are trying to like choreograph their Nazi
They're going to be using it in
like,
training camps, man.
Make sure you nail this. Like, hey, we're doing an Inglourious Bastards 2. Everyone, please watch this and don't come back until you can Elon like that. That is the level to which it was a perfect Zig Heil. It's within a week of that, decided to go and appear digitally at a German event with the far right party that he is supporting now to take over and lead their coalition government, and spend the time there on the eve, mind you, of the Auschwitz Memorial, which was Monday. On the eve of that, saying that, hey, you guys who still seem like you are Nazi sympathizers, are we just talking about the sins of our fathers too much? Should we still feel guilty about this thing that you guys never really felt that guilty about? And look, I share sentiments of not being responsible for the sins of your fathers, unless you still defend the sins of your fathers. And to go to, again, the place and the timing of everything after your perfect Zig Heil and go, I'm going to go tell the people who may be the most sympathetic with a Nazi-like movement to like, hey, guys, I mean, it's not like you were Nazis. Read the fucking room, but the dude can't read anything that's not on Twitter.
Yikes.
That hasn't passed through Matt Walsh's butthole into his hands.
Ew.
Feed me, Daddy.
That's nasty.
Ew.
That is nasty.
You're
That
gross.
is nasty.
You're gross.
I don't know. Any thoughts on what do you got? What do you got for Elon? Would either of you like to give Elon some advice?
Yeah, like the best advice I could give Elon is just like, shut the fuck up. Like, just stop. Like, please stop. The thing that really got me, it wasn't just the Zig Heil. It was the look on his face when he did it. Like the look, like he bit his lip. Like he wanted to make sure he hit it hard. It was almost like he was dabbing with it. Like I was a little offended by that. Like, like.
Remember when the guy in the wheelchair blows up Fring in Breaking Bad?
Yes.
You know that look he gives right as he's blowing up? That's what I thought of.
Oh my God.
Yes.
He was really into it.
He was,
Alyssa,
man.
what's your advice for Elon Musk?
Similar advice. Shut up. And also, like, and we talked about this before. Actually, we talked about this on the podcast that we recorded and is gone. But the intention in this is not even. Like, it actually doesn't matter if he was trying to do like a Roman salute or give his heart out or whatever,
right? Because
after it was being questioned as a Nazi salute, he didn't correct anybody. And that alone
just
tells me
stills
everything.
Of people waving and are like, oh, why don't they call them out when they do? It's like, okay, now let's do video versus video because that's what we were showing you, bud. None of these stills.
That's all we needed to know. That was all we needed to know. It was like, you actually don't care, because if you did, you could have apologized and been like, that was really weird. I'm so sorry. That was not what but you don't care. Clearly.
Nope.
So
clearly.
Elon, here's my advice for you. The amount of ketamine you're on is wrong. I don't know if it's too little or too much. Maybe you need less, maybe you need more. But somewhere the amount of ketamine you have when you're defending doing a Zig Heil and the amount of ketamine you had when you were like, but wouldn't it be cool if we put a toaster in a car? Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle.
I would prefer the car toaster.
Yeah.
You're not at the right amount of ketamine. More or less will be correct for you. It's one of those things too where you're like, do y'all remember back in the Bush years, Good Charlotte came out and they had that lifestyles of the rich and the famous.
I love that song.
There's a line, if money's such a problem, they've got mansions, think we should rob them. And I feel that way so much these days where I'm like, truly having too much money is because once you get past $10 million, you cannot affect how happy you are.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no difference. No. But any amount of money on top of $30,000 increases your happiness. Any amount of money, like up through the hundreds of thousands, will change your lifestyle and improve it. And even like after 200,000, the index goes way down, like how much you can improve for each dollar over. And I swear, it's like they've got this fucking, it's like the people you hear about that are billionaires that are like, I'm going to fly you out to this island and see if I can tempt you to break morals that you know you hold dear for a certain amount of money, or see if I can get you to eat shit off of a biscuit. Like that shit happen. It's way worse, way darker than that shit. Like if you hear about like what these Saudi Arabian people will fly OnlyFans out. No, not Saudi Arabia. There too, but UAE. People who will fly OnlyFans models out and offer them crazy amounts of monies to do the most degrading shit.
Yikes.
It's bleak and dark as fuck.
Oh, shit, no, I'll pass.
Because that's when you have that much money and that much power and nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
And the question, if I could ever debate Elon Musk or have him one-on-one, I would ask him like, okay, obviously you don't believe you're evil and you believe everybody else is. So let's just say hypothetically, either you are evil, or if you can't even engage the hypothetical because you're such a bitch about it, let's say somebody is evil and they have as much money, institutional power, and assets as you are. What could anyone do to stop them?
Yeah.
And is it a problem, whether you are evil or not, to be that unstoppable? Even if your intentions are good. Even if you are a good person, should any one person have that amount of power to be unstoppable? But he'd never answer it directly.
All that power.
He'd complain and then he would send me a text, I'm canceling your contract at X. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not Don Lemon. I just, Oh, are you sad that I'm not Don Lemon just now?
Oh.
I'm a little sad too. Don Lemon's a handsome man.
Yeah, he's not bad looking. Not at all. Not at all.
He's a good looking guy. All right, we're going to head to another break here. And when we get back, I think we're just going to rapid fire. Trump's a dick for this. Trump's a dick for that. Trump's a dick for the way he uses his dick. Trump's dick is the part of him that is the least amount of a dick because it's not very much dick.
Period.
Hey.
Yeah, girl.
Bars.
Bars.
I reckon the music could be about half as long and it would be perfect for breaking out into ads. Or maybe I'm using the wrong one. This might be the break in. Oh, the other one's the break out.
You gotta relabel these files, dude.
So dumb. I'm so dumb. Something needs changes. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by the amazing people on patreon.com/calltheline, where you can get the show ad-free and you get the extended episodes where we do bonus shows, which is most of the time. Head over to patreon.com/calltheline and sign up today. Would you like to be one of the cool people who can prove...
We are back from the break, and we're going to rapid fire some Trump news, and then I hope we find some joy and happiness in the bonus show, where maybe you'll get to know Darante a little bit better, and I'm going to read you all this freaking transphobic email that is just some of my best work, I feel. How, y'all ever been in one of those situations where you're like, we're 10 messages deep, and you still don't know I'm messing with you?
Yeah.
And I've made it very clear. And then at some point, you tell the person, dude, I'm messing with you. How have you not gotten it? And then within another couple emails, they call you stupid for not understanding that they were being sarcastic in the last email. And you're like, do you want to set the precedent that a person is stupid if they don't catch the joke in an email? Because, buddy, I don't think you do. Anyway. That's what's coming up in the bonus show, patreon.com/calltheline. If you want to be a patron and hear the bonus show, the extended show or whatever, but just do that stuff. We're going to start with Trump's pardons because there's a couple of updates to that. Another individual, a man whose last name is Keene, has rejected the pardon from Donald Trump, is basically saying, nope, I did the crime, I did the time, and I'm letting it stay on my record. I don't want this pardon. It was wrong. And Donald Trump sucks. He has de-radicalized from the MAGA right wing.
I love that.
You know what's interesting is he blames a lot of how radicalized he was and how much he was going along with things on being an alcoholic, which he has got some sobriety behind him. And I'm like, yo, what if that's really fucking us? There's what if alcoholism and Christian nationalism actually is like pretty?
Is the answer?
I mean, they are hand in hand. Like, I can see that. I can see that works.
Is the simplest political change just switching out every other beer for some O'Doul's and not telling anybody? Like,
I'd be down to
watering
find
down.
out. I'd be down to find out.
I would be a little disappointed, but I'll take one for the team.
For the team, that's right. For the team. For those who are listening and not watching, Darante has just taken a Four Loko swig, which he had to tell me what that was. I thought Four Loko was a thing that was booze and energy drinks. I thought that.
I didn't realize that you were drinking a Four Loko. I thought it was an energy drink the whole time. A Four Loko is crazy work. I'm so with it. I'm so with it.
But what is it exactly?
Well, it's really the only beer I'll drink because it's the only beer that has enough alcoholic content where I don't have to consume a whole bunch of empty calories to get a buzz. So it's 13.9% beer. It's cheap and effective, man.
Okay.
2 of these and knock you off your ass.
So is it not caffeinated? I thought that Four Locos were like energy drinks also.
It might have been in the past because they definitely.
It was a thing before, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely reformulated at some point.
Oh yeah.
So as not to kill
maybe
their
I know about it because
consumers.
it became illegal or dangerous or something. Maybe that is what I heard. Yeah. Okay. I got y'all. I've literally, even in my big days, I've really been a water drinker, which sucks. Listen, if you don't drink alcohol and you don't drink soda and you decide I need to lose a lot of weight, the two easy things to like change, because if you have a lot of weight and you cut those out, you're drinking a lot,
yes,
you'll lose weight just by like continuing your life otherwise.
Yep.
I didn't have either of those things. I had to cut out my true love, which was candy and carbs. And cake, not really cake. I like
literally everything.
I mean, the moment you say
healthy,
carbs, that's pretty much it.
That's
bread,
everything.
potatoes.
I have carbs back now, but I can only eat, my diet's so restricted. I eat potatoes, rice, and chicken. And so it's like.
I can survive on that. I can do that.
Well, you have to supplement vitamins. I literally.
That is true because there's no fiber.
There is some fiber in potato chips, but there's not the good soluble fiber that you find in like vegetables, or I supplement it now with a supplement, and hopefully one day we'll be able to eat again. I will tell you, I now there's so little calories in potato chips unless you're eating it on top of other stuff. The problem with potato chips is people can eat a full meal and be full and still feel like they can eat potato chips. So you stack it on and on.
Yep.
I am so limited on food that I can eat basically a whole bag of potato chips and will still lose pounds the next day. Like I'll still be down overall. It's wild.
That feels kind of like a good thing,
No, because it's the one thing. I'm just tired of it all. Like sometimes I'll dice up potatoes and I'll air fry them and I'll burn them on purpose just to change the flavor. I'm not even joking. Like that's like, here's something that's a little different. And
I'm going to be so honest. I zoned out for a second because I got sent a Reddit thread about me, and I came back and we were talking about air frying chips, and I regret that part of zoning out because I love when things are extra crispy. And now, I'm really looking forward to listening to this episode and hearing everything that you just said, because that sounds
great. When you come to visit, I'll cook you. So I'll cook you what I will cook you the best version of what I can eat in a day. Okay. And you'll probably go like, individually, all of these things are good.
Yeah.
You cannot live off of this. No. This is not, first of all, my food is beige. If you think about it, because I can't even have chicken skin. Like I can just have chicken breast. Fatty chicken I can't have. And so mostly what I'm doing is I'm using a shredder and I'm shredding the chicken up. God, we'll do anything to not talk about Trump. I will shred the chicken up. And then it's that rice that I've cooked in chicken bone broth. And then potatoes. And so you like look at it and you're like, this looks like a Trump rally.
It's just like that plate.
It's my elementary school.
It's a plate of beige.
Yes.
It's a beige
plate of beige.
And as the Bible says, man cannot live on beige alone.
And I've always said that.
I know. How are you doing? Is the Reddit thread about you? Are you safe? Are you good? Is it horrible? Is it frustrating?
No. It's not horrible. It's like people figuring out that my ex and I broke up. But it's funny because it's like they're like, oh no, I'm so sad. They were so great together, which is which is like, I'm glad it's nice. And it's also like, makes it more sad. It's like at that point, I would rather them be like, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it was not bad. I just didn't know it existed until just now. There were two of them.
How much everyone needs to learn that you do not know anything about anybody from the personas they put out online. I'm not saying, I mean, obviously I'm not here actually your ex was horrible, but whether or not they were great together or not, you actually have no idea.
Totally. Totally. And it's also like, I'm currently in Los Angeles and he is 12 minutes from where I am right now. Haven't heard from him. So.
Oh, that one. That's the one. No, that guy is a bastard. No, I'm kidding.
No, he's lovely. He's just a coward. Anyway, moving forward.
Stop being a scaredy boy.
He'll never hear this.
One day she's going to be, your fans are going to send it to him. She's going to be married one day and you're going to go, damn it. I missed it.
And the worst part is that I love him. So one day he'll figure it out and I don't know. That's his journey.
All
anyway,
right, let me just, since I don't know his name, I'm gonna record my generic response to him, and we can just play it for any ex of yours in the future.
Great.
Hey man, you fucked up, and in reality, you're the one missing out. You're gonna look back and you go, life was too short, and it would have been better to spend with her. That's what's gonna happen.
Bars.
Ooh, I feel tempted to add to that because if there's a cultural meme here that fits, and so it's from an old movie, and so I just want to add it, and it goes like this: you know you done fucked up, right?
Nice.
You know you done fucked up. That's it. That's all I need.
Nice.
Love it. I loved that. I feel better now. That legitimately healed what I just saw on Reddit.
Thank you. That was wonderful, Darante.
That was beautiful.
Trump's Ukraine plan leaked. It's really bad, everybody. Here's some of the bullet points. Basically, Russia came in. They stole a bunch of stuff that they shouldn't have stolen. Trump's idea is let them keep it. By the way, that literally includes Kursk. So, yeah, that's not going to Ukraine. Europe will be paying for it. We'll be covering a lot of the costs. Trump's thinking like, well, you know what's a good deal is if Russia doesn't pay and Ukraine doesn't, we'll just give it to Europe. Ukraine will not be joining NATO. That's great, and has to declare its neutrality. Will be able to keep its army though for defensive purposes. And America is going to get to be able to sell a bunch of the Ukrainian shit. And they're also not allowed to join the EU until 2030. Ukraine. Yeah. Right. My favorite part, the sanctions against Russia will be able to be lifted within about 3 years. You know, when it would be useful for if the Russians wanted to do another misinformation campaign to the benefit of the Republicans who are running for president at that time. That's when maybe the U.S. will be thinking about raising up those sanctions according to the Trump Ukraine plan. So this was the great deal. I'm a great deal maker. We're going to end it because that war should have never happened. It should have never happened. And now here's the deal. Russia gets everything and Ukraine sucks is basically his plan. So that's a fun little thing going on. Anybody want to comment on that or next Trump horrible thing going on?
Next Trump horrible thing, please.
Yes, like, oh, damn, that just hurts so much hearing that. Yep.
But all right, going on then. Despite allegations of lots of personal misconduct, including sexual assault, excessive drinking, financial mismanagement, despite the fact that he opposes women serving in combat roles and doesn't like DEI, as he will call it in the military, saying that that's going to complicate combat situations. What if there's too much diversity here? Despite the fact that he has no high-level management experience, despite the fact that he is a white nationalist, a right-wing Christian nationalist with heavy white nationalist vibes, and despite the fact that even Republicans don't really like him, Pete Hegseth has still been confirmed to run the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, will literally command trillions of American dollars, despite the fact that he is still to this day actively an alcoholic, but has promised that if he gets confirmed, he'll quit drinking then. Because, those types of resolutions to break addiction always work. That's why you hear about all the people that are like, oh, I was an addict, but then I had a kid. And so, no, the kid ends up getting fucked over by their addict parent too. Not to say there haven't been some stories of people who got their shit together, but there's lots of people who think that's just how it's going to be. And I'm not kidding. I've literally met people who have said things like, well, I just figure if I have a kid, I'll have to get my shit together. Nope. Turns out when you really want that addiction, you don't. Anyway, he wants to have this kid to the tune of, again, trillions of American tax dollars, is totally incompetent and just a shitty person with shitty tattoos all over his chest that, sure, I know white nationalists get these tattoos, but this is the Roman salute tattoo. That's who will be running the Pentagon, everybody. God bless America.
We're doing so good.
That I love.
Honestly,
I like to pick up the song from there.
Honestly, as a former black nationalist, this sounds like the America I know. This is, but it's really sad that it gets this, that it's gone this far. As much every day that I see something coming from the Trump White House, I just wonder, how is this happening? How are we actually letting this happen? How is this allowable? How is this tolerable? That part is a little frightening, but it's. I hate to be that person. It's not surprising to me.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's shocking, but not surprising. I think is the phrase. We're just stuck in the spot where it's like you're destroying America with your radicalism, but you're offending it with your incompetency.
Yes.
Maybe this is our best hope that things won't change too much because it's a bunch of morons can only do the damage that morons can do. Maybe we're limited on how bad it can be because they're that fucking dumb.
Stupid is as stupid does, as Forrest Gump would say.
Yeah, maybe. They're going to do horrible shit, but hopefully it's recoverable because they've got literally the most redacted individuals running the fucking shit.
Yeah.
Redacted's my new favorite substitution for a slur. Yeah,
I will use that. That is being added to my lexicon at this moment.
Just don't you worry. Somebody will purity check you against it anyway.
Oh my God.
Do you know what word that sounds like? Oh my God, you found the point.
Oh man.
Now tell me I can't.
Yeah.
Now tell my autistic ass I'm not allowed to use it. Anyway, also in Trump news, they have deleted all White House Spanish language pages and social media, even as they are increasing immigration crackdowns, sending planes of people to various countries like Guatemala, like Colombia. And Colombia has said, we're not taking them we're not going to. And so Trump is going to attempt to tariff. He thinks that tariffs is this magic word that he can just come through and wave a wand. Well, then I'm going to tariff you. To the point that he literally the other day said, what if we just get rid of taxes and just have tariffs? Because people don't know what the fuck tariffs are. Tariffs are taxes that Americans pay. The importers pay, you fucking morons.
It's insane how many times we've had to explain that. How many times does the fucking Daily Show have to send a random person to do man on the street and ask someone with a MAGA hat on what a tariff is, only to get proven wrong? How many times do we have to do that man on a street TikTok before people understand?
But I think that's always been the concern for any type of democracy that we've never really protected ourselves against, right? That there's a fine line between majority rule and mob rule. And that fine line is education. And so when education dwindles, people know how to take advantage of that. And we've definitely seen the Trump campaign doing that over and over and over again. They are taking advantage of people's ignorance. And we see it. These po people, they're voting against their own best interest because they're buying into some other fairy tale and they don't have that cognitive, I don't want to say cognitive muscles, but that's the best thing I can say. They haven't built that cognitive muscles to actually filter through the bullshit and be able to say, no, this actually smells worse than it should.
Yeah. Well, and Democrats are feckless and won't actually promise those people. They won't directly say, like, they have to dress it up, and it's literally like, well, yeah, I'm voting against my best interest, but I never heard somebody say they were going for my best interest. They won't just directly say, like, bitch, I'm giving you health care. I don't give a fuck if you want it. You're getting it.
You're getting it.
I'm giving you money from you. I am going to make them pay you enough to live, whether you want to or not. Apparently make enough to live when they're making billions of dollars. We are not going to let them hoard your security and resources, which they're doing. They have to grow a pair, metaphorical pair. And then we already talked about Trump and his cleaning out the Gaza Strip. So last thing really would be these political goals that he's trying to add to extending government aid to places like California with the fires, and basically offering right-wing states that voted for him, like North Carolina, anything they want in the form of support and financial resources from the federal government, but saying he wants to hold up California fire recovery aid unless California passes the voter ID laws that he wants them to pass and other election laws, because he does not care about the Constitution, which grants the states to run their election laws the way they want. But this is not surprising. Anything on this? I'm not going to help people who are victims of fucking natural disasters unless the government of that state, which will take a long time to be able to pass a law like that, passes laws that specifically I like, a tradition we have never done before, because the tradition always was, if you're in power and a state, even opposing you politically, has a disaster, you just give them the fucking money.
Yeah.
Right.
It's disgusting, man. And sadly enough, one of our representatives for the state of Alabama, who unfortunately is a governor hopeful, is one of the first people who was kind of pushing that narrative, even before Trump did, that California shouldn't get anything unless they conform to such and such and such and such. And the fact that we're having that type of conversation in 2025 and nobody is like, no, that's absolutely bullshit. You shouldn't even have a platform. Like, I don't even understand how Congress people can't get fired at some point. Like, damn, this is disgusting. You know, and it shouldn't even be a conversation. It shouldn't be a second thought. If we are a country, and I thought we were, then it doesn't matter if this was a state that supported you or not. You know what I'm saying? We're one fucking country. Let's support our people. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's amazing to me.
The irony being there that California gives more money than it takes to the federal government, and Alabama takes more than it gives. So literally, California is literally paying for Alabama's welfare. And yet you all are saying they shouldn't get some of their money back.
Yes.
Y'all are taking more than you give.
Because, I mean, we are one of the poorest states in the, almost in time.
The more red a state is, the more they're taking from a welfare system, but also voting against welfare systems.
It also, I've said this before, and again, it might have been in the podcast we recorded already. I can't tell if I'm repeating myself in a place where people will see it or not. But like, the government is meant to be, it's supposed to be full of public servants. Yeah. And for Trump to be so wrong and strong about what his job is just fucking unbelievable. And then to have have the left be flagging it and saying like, hey, so checking in, this is not what he's supposed to be doing. And just a little gut check. He is actually a fascist. So to then be penalized afterwards is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is wild too, to go like, weren't you the Democrats? Actually, this will probably be my final note. Does anybody have anything they want to add as we outro here before I play the music for the main thing? You obviously come for the bonus show after, but my final note is about to... No, go ahead. Anything.
Bless you. Did someone sneeze?
I thought that was on your end.
No.
I don't know.
I heard that out of your mind.
Proof of ghosts.
Right. I think the only thing I'll say is just for Democrats, especially those in leadership, is that the world is watching. Right. And your inaction, what you allow, is going to speak volumes. Yeah. If you want to be able to turn that next election, you're going to have to grow a pair, as Jimmy said, and you have to show it now. You have to show yourself strong. Otherwise, this can go a lot of different ways. So like, hell, show the fuck up. Like, we need to see some shit.
I don't care if their balls or ovaries, just grow a pair of them.
Just grow a pair.
Christ.
Period.
Balls, ovaries, titties, whatever it is, just
Whatever
get a pair,
it
man.
is.
Come hang out on the bonus show. But I got to tell you, everybody, as we leave here today, it's wild to have watched a Democratic Party that finally tried to actually call out what was happening there toward the end and tell us all about how basically we're about to elect Hitler. If we're not careful, it's Hitler 2.0. Hitler's coming. And then we got Hitler, and apparently their response, their plan for when Hitler's in power is to basically just go, Hitler's in power. Aw. Hitler, come on.
Oh. Dang it.
See you on the bonus
Damn.
show. That's it.